I've lost a brother in my life, but it's like I've gained another one through Dan as well, and I just feel like really fortunate to have him in my life. And his Dan's a little older than I am, so having his experience, it really helps. And I feel like if I'm not mistaken, sometimes like even being younger, I could also add some value and help him in his life as well.
Yeah, I never had a sister, so now I got a sister.
Exactly.
I saw Dan holding on to that one. He was waiting for you to finish talking. One of our core beliefs is to never stop learning, and one of the best ways to learn is to have deep conversations with incredible entrepreneurs who have accomplished amazing things. In an effort to grow the Find Your Freedom community, it would mean the world to us if you would subscribe on your favorite audio platform, watch episodes on YouTube, and share your favorite episodes with your friends and family. Our goal is to build a community uniting successful entrepreneurs with aspiring entrepreneurs and providing a one-stop shop for all the resources you need to find your freedom. All right, we just finished recording with Anthony Ferraro and Dan Mancina. These two incredibly accomplished and hilarious entrepreneurs are bringing widespread awareness to visual impairment. This episode is unlike any other that we've done, and I think you're going to love it as we dive into the challenges that people with visual impairment overcome, the crazy adventures that Dan and Anthony have done despite their blindness, the movie that was made about Anthony, and how they're finding their freedom through entrepreneurship. Be sure to check out their podcast also called Four Bad Eyes. These guys were super fun to record with. Enjoy. Yo. Welcome to the Find Your Freedom podcast. I super excited to have a special podcast today with Four Bad Eyes. Welcome to have you guys on today.
Yeah, what's up?
You again.
You again.
Do you two know each other?
Peripherally, yeah.
Only virtually. I met him on a dating app.
Oh, nice. What's that one called?
Called Blinder.
Yeah, Blinder.
Blinder. People don't know about that Blinder. Letting them know today.
Dude, I found your guys' account like 6 months ago, and then I started looking into you. I went into your personals, and the more that I read about you and found out about you online, it was just like, wow, these are super incredible guys that are spreading super positive messages out there. And every time I'd go back to your account, I'd be like, there's 10,000 more followers. There's like 40,000 more followers. It's been unbelievable, the growth you guys have had. I super enjoyed watching it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so we checked out your movie, Anthony, and can you kind of talk to our audience a little bit about how the movie came together and how that came about?
Yeah, shot in the dark. I was wrestling through high school, and I was doing like pretty well for myself in the competitive aspect of it, and I was dealing with a lot of like adversity, like people saying, oh, he's faking his blindness to get an unfair advantage, because I had to like stay in contact when I wrestled people, and when we broke away we'd have to go back to the center. And then just dealing with all that and dealing with like some of the other things in life, growing up blind. My older brother saw it like really inspiring, and he used to be heavily in film, and he took a clip, like a little teaser of me talking about all these things, and then posted it my junior year after I won this district championship, and said, this is my little brother, I want to make a film about him. Later on, independent film maker Chris Sikorsky, he reached out and said, what are you doing with this film? It's incredible. He said nothing. They sat down, decided to make a full feature length of my senior year, and then they basically just followed me around everywhere my senior year, and everyone's like, what was it like having cameras? Like, I didn't even see the thing, so it didn't bother me much. And then
I was just being myself. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, they caught some raw stuff that I'm like, whoa, that was crazy. But
how was that to look back on after you heard the movie?
Stressful.
It was powerful, man.
To see how much pressure I put on myself and got from other avenues of, coaching and other things like that, like the pressure was insane at that age. So it was like wild to watch. Like, I was just trying to be a normal kid trying to fit in wrestling, and had to deal with all this like political BS and stuff. So it was kind of a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And it was powerful because you could tell how competitive you were and how bad you wanted it.
Yeah, I was mostly just competitive with myself. I was like my worst enemy. I would freaking I would beat myself up mentally, like if I didn't do something right, or always trying to like overcompensate with extra training and stuff like that. And it was cool to watch it later on because I always left high school thinking like I didn't do anything. I like really messed up. I didn't accomplish anything because I didn't get the goals I wanted. But then looking back, it's like, damn, you won 122 matches. You had 2 district titles and like made a lot of noise in high school. So it was pretty cool to be able to like in retrospect see like how much I actually achieved.
And it's not even that it was just that it was in high school, but you were in Jersey, which was like one of the most challenging states for wrestling, period, like the most competitive states.
New Jersey and California were top 2 at that time, and
Yeah,
it was like people went out for blood. Like I wasn't getting hate just from wrestlers. I was getting it from coaches, parents, like teachers. Like it was ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, man. Well, it sounds like you actually did quite a bit at a very young age and came out of high school with a movie under your belt, and you said all those titles as well. Now, what would you guys say is the craziest thing that you've done that most people would feel is impossible without the benefit of sight? You mentioned something in one of your videos about driving a car, and I was like scratching my head on that one. But what would you guys say is one of the things that stands out during your journey of what you guys have been able to pull off without being able to see?
Dan, I'll let you take that.
I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, us together or individuals?
I know what for me, I could think of Dan's is the freaking.
Why don't you answer for Dan and Dan will answer for you?
Well, Dan's is the freaking bull riding.
What?
Yeah, I've been bull riding a couple times. I went twice, actually.
What?
He went on Gary LaFew's ranch. If you guys know Gary LaFew from Jackass.
The dude who did all the Jackass stuff, that guy, yeah.
What was that experience like?
The first time I did it was one of the most intense like rushes I've ever had. When I first sat on that animal, was insane.
That is so crazy.
So how did it go? How long did you stay on? And
that time I rode, I think,
how did it end up?
Twice.
I think 1 second is like success, right?
I made 8 seconds like the one time, but that was a
Whoa.
really mellow bowl.
That's so sick.
And then I actually did it again this past summer for my buddy's bachelor party. I set it all up at a ranch out here in Michigan, west side of Michigan. The Silver Dollar Ranch. Everyone there was really dope.
That is awesome.
That bull was more like hot out of the gate as opposed, because there's like different levels of bull. You know what I mean? There's like ones that are a little more tame.
Yeah, when you said mellow bull, I don't think I've ever heard of those two words being said together. Mellow and mellow bull.
Yeah, there's like, more timid ones that don't come out as hot and are just little, don't go crazy. And then there's like just the savage bulls that are just they want to kill you. So they don't put you on like, the crazy ones. So it was all pretty contained. You got like a little flak jacket on and a helmet. So it's pretty mellow, but I got tossed this time pretty good, like right on my back and stuff.
Oh man, that's a good way to start the bachelor party off.
Yeah,
huh?
we were all scared, man.
I can't imagine sitting up on top.
But I would highly recommend anybody do it if you're interested in it, because it is like, it's fun. It's really fun.
John, we are doing that.
All right, I'm in.
We're definitely doing
We're
that.
going to fly out to Michigan. Dan's going to set it up. We're going to do this thing.
Do you have one for Anthony, or Anthony, do you have one for yourself?
I don't know. Like it's not too crazy. The driving was awesome, but that's like whatever. Like Kelly and I went to the Salt Flats in Utah when we were doing a cross country tour, and I let it rip. Like she was like, "All right, get in the driver's seat," and I was like, "What?" And then I got in the driver's seat, and I'm like, immediately pedal to the metal, and she's like bugging out in the passenger seat, like, "You need to slow down." But and then one point I'm like, she got out and put the Bluetooth over the car, and she's on the phone, and I'm driving. I'm like, I never got to do this. I'm from Jersey. There's all these angry drivers. There's no one around. I'm like hanging out of the driver's seat window while whipping this car, and I just throw up the middle finger. I'm like, get the fuck out of the road.
Had you ever pressed the gas pedal before? Had you ever even felt like...
Yeah, I've done little, like in parking lots, just little, little freebies. But
so you knew what you were doing when you floored that thing.
Oh yeah, I was ready. I wish it went faster. It was only a Subaru.
That's so incredible.
Me and Dan got a Ferrari one time though for my birthday last year,
No.
and we spent. I spent like 24 hours in a Ferrari with Kelly, and then we show up to Dan's hotel, and then me and Dan get in the thing, and we're just sitting it in neutral, just revving the shit out of the engine.
They get it back and they're like, what do these guys do to the car? I love that. How do you guys come up with all your content? Like one of my favorite skits is actually probably like just one of the most like normal one when I think it's like raining outside and you guys like, let's play some games.
Yeah.
you're like they're like offering up Uno and Monopoly and like all these like traditional games, and then you guys end up just playing some weird ass like made up game with goldfish on dominoes.
All that stuff is real spontaneous, and like a lot of it's on the spot at that time moment. You know, I can remember that specific day where like try to come up with like 4 ideas for that day, and that was just we wanted to do something with games, and then we kind of just start filming it. You know, like let's do throwing around ideas, and it's pretty much all just in the moment. And
Yeah, it's really like a spitball, like
yeah,
just back and forth, like, how about this? And then like we'll come up with the main theme, and then we'll try and, because when we're together, we live, he's in Michigan, I'm in Jersey, and we get together sporadically, and we try and really maximize our time with like content and like in-person videos and stuff. And we'll just like have a goal of like, all right, we need to film 4 videos today,
mm-hmm.
and we'll come up with the main theme, and then it's really after that, it's all like ad-libbing as it goes on, like, and then we'll be like, oh, that was a good idea, actually, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun.
And then Anthony's wife Kelly does all the filming and editing, so she kills it and like adds good ideas. And I mean, without her,
So is it kind of like a 3-person team then?
Yeah,
with you two kind of starting in it and her.
Oh, definitely.
Filming and
really, it's 4 bad eyes and 2 good eyes. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Anthony, your the trip you just took. Was that a honeymoon or was that just a vacation that you guys just did to Italy?
It was just a impromptu vacation. I was supposed to be in Portugal at a world championship, but and we had a trip planned to Italy from there, but I got a bad concussion in December from judo, so I had to chill out for a couple months. So we just decided, take the trip and chill out. It was nice.
Dude, that looked like so funny. That you trying all those pastas and the ice cream was my wife was loving it. She's the biggest 4 Bad Eyes fan. It's so cool, dude. So what's the plan for 4 Bad Eyes now that you guys are up? Huge follower count. What are the long-term plans with it?
Really pushing the podcast, trying to grow that is kind of a big focus for us. And then just trying to make fun videos, and spread stoke, happiness, and just positive, good vibes and all that.
I love that. Yeah, the podcast is so cool because it really is you guys hanging and telling these hilarious stories, just like the one you just talked about with riding the bull and everything. It's a really cool podcast for when people are just driving and just want to smile and just have a good vibe. I think that's super awesome.
Yeah, we're starting to find our groove and get our rhythm and stuff. I've been doing it it would be a year in December. So
when did you guys start finding that groove, and what was that moment?
Yesterday.
How does one find their groove? How do you do that?
We're still hit or miss. We're still working out some kinks and like still getting our kind of format for the episodes down. And I mean, we're really influenced from a lot of other podcasts, like Tuesdays with Stories is the big one we listen to a lot. So we rip a bunch of stuff from that because it's like our favorite. Those guys are hilarious.
We'll bring in all these like inside jokes from that show, and just like it's really our favorite podcasts are like based around like a hang. So it's really trying to be, and it's like most our followers are getting like, these 30-second videos from us. So it's a really way to like see more into our lives and like hang out with us for an hour or so.
Yeah, it's a super cool concept. I dig it. What is something that you guys think is most important for people know about visual impairment that you wish that people knew? Like here's a good example. So when Dan got on before Anthony came on, he was talking about how the circadian rhythm is a little off when you're visually impaired because you don't have the sunlight. And I had never even thought about that. And then Huberman Labs, the other podcast, had just talked about how critical that was to balance your day. So what is it, something you guys wish that people knew?
I just wish more people understood that like if you're blind, life doesn't stop. Like you figure out ways to adapt, and we're humans. Like you were so adaptive at the end of the day. It's
Right.
insane. And no matter your situation, blindness or not, life goes on, and you could figure out these things, and it's not too abnormal.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Yeah, a lot of people have like pity for you off the bat. You know what I mean? It's annoying to come across that, and people just feel sorry for you when really you just like just a normal person, just want to be treated normal. So
Yeah, I think one of the quotes that you guys had that I really loved was, I think you said, the only disability is a bad attitude.
yeah,
Yes, my favorite, because I know people like that are in wheelchairs are like literally missing all their limbs, and they're tying themselves up with like they're putting packing tape and cushion under their limbs and going and literally climbing mountains and shit. Like they're not letting life stop them. There's people in wheelchairs like rock climbing, and then people at home feeling sorry for themselves with nothing physically wrong with them. They're just making excuse after excuse. So it's like, who has the disability at the end of the day?
yeah. I always feel we got it easy, man. As far as disability goes, we're chilling. Yeah,
Yeah, like I totally agree. It's like you think you got it bad till you meet the person with no legs, and then you're like, okay, there's people way worse off than me, but they're not living worse off.
Right. Yeah, that perspective is huge.
That's the best quote. You think you got it bad until you meet the guy with no legs. No, I love your guys' perspective. I mean, this is so great. I think that's what's so cool about your podcast is, yeah, people, either visually impaired or not, can kind of take inspiration from what you guys are doing and not letting it slow you down. And you guys are just crushing it, as though, you got nothing holding you back. So that's hugely inspirational. So kind of talking, looking at you guys, and you guys are so far down the path compared to us with podcasting and content creation. We kind of recently fell into it. It was never in my wildest dreams to be here doing a podcast. And my cousin Jonathan reached out to me, 4 or 5 months ago and said, "Hey, what do you think about doing this podcast?" And I said, "Nah, not really into that. But thank you for offering, or thank you for throwing it out." And then he continued to bring it up, and I warmed up to the idea, and here we are, and we're having a blast doing it now. And we've had already so many cool conversations. But I'm kind of curious for you guys and all the success that you've had. Were you guys content creators prior to starting up the podcast? Did you guys have any background or experience in doing this? Or?
Yeah, I was getting burnt out on doing everything just by myself. So I was looking for somebody to partner up with and do something. And then Anthony just randomly was in town in Michigan for a yearly skate trip that that was the first time we had it, but like a bunch of adaptive ride skaters get together, and we were hanging and met Ant and just became really close and good friends. And he was down to collab, and I think you were just starting to pop, right?
Yeah,
TikTok and stuff.
yeah, my TikTok was like blowing up at the time,
Yeah.
and things were going pretty good. And Dan and I were just like, because I've wanted to start a podcast, but I've always been like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to talk for an hour by myself.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. And then just talking with him, we thought we were going to start like a YouTube at first. We didn't know what we were going to do. And then we came up with podcast, and it was we recorded like 10 episodes before we even launched. And then, if you're starting a podcast, make sure you listen to the first test episode, because every single episode we had to trash because we didn't know anything about sound or anything. So it was a real process of learning and, getting sound under control, learning all about because I do music as well. So I do all the sound stuff for my band, like at concerts and stuff, but it's a whole different animal, like in the studio and stuff like that. So
with two people is a whole other thing. Because I had my own podcast with just me, and I could not talk for an hour. I made it maybe like 6 months or something. I was like, this sucks. So I got to get somebody else. But
so then once you guys linked up and got the synergy going, it just kind of took off from there. And it sounds like you guys already kind of had a little bit of a buzz in your own right individually, and then you put the two together, and it just really.
We both had pretty big platforms, and we were like, well, let's just try and merge this, and it's been really fun.
Who approached you?
It was kind of a mutual. We were texting back and forth all the time. We were sending voice memos like little dating girls. You know, we like we would talk nonstop, and we were like, well, we talk so much and on the phone and stuff, we need to just start recording this stuff, and because the conversations were interesting.
That's like very similar to how Doug and I, how the concept for Doug and I came up. You know, we would have these conversations and be like, man, that was like really insightful for me. I wish I would have, you know, been able to look back on it. Or we'd have conversations with friends and they were talking about what they were doing in their lives. And it's just like, man, this is really cool. I'd love to be able to look back on this
Yeah.
as like an interesting thing. So what were you both doing similar independent things with your TikTok and socials before?
That's pretty different. I think Anthony and Kelly style of video, which is what you think. I think so. I mean, my stuff is mainly skating on my personal platform.
Yeah, you're predominantly skating, and then
When I first started Instagram, I did a lot of like challenges, like me just doing random things you wouldn't expect a blind person to do was kind of my thing. And that's how I got my Instagram to kind of pop.
they had started on Vine too.
I started on Vine, yeah.
Dang.
You guys go way back.
Yeah, come to think, yeah, I was doing it a long time. I never really focused on any of like all the tips and tools to grow, you know what I mean? Like posting every day and like all these kind of things that you have to do nowadays to grow. I was, I guess, early enough in the Instagram days to kind of just, I don't know how I grew or I got a blue check mark out of nowhere and all that stuff. So I don't know what I did.
When you're an OG, that just happens.
So on the topic of advice, so one of the things you guys just mentioned was posting every day. I think I heard there that listen back to your episodes. So hopefully you don't have to trash a bunch of content because you didn't go back and check. Is there any other advice that you guys would share to early first-time creators or folks that are just like starting out?
Yeah, consistency. Find something that you really like and enjoy because you're gonna have to do it a lot.
Yeah,
find something that you got to be passionate about it for sure, because that really shows in your videos whether you're passionate or not. And then, you know, it can be anything from sewing to whatever. If you're into it, people are going to see that and want to watch it. So
Yeah, and there's an outlet for everyone. There's like so many freaking like all these like corners of the internet. There's one for everyone.
that's right. Yeah. There's like, if you're on Reddit, like all these subreddits, all these different weird niches, but whatever you're into, I love that. I love that recommendation. Just be passionate about it, and I think it comes through in your guys' videos how passionate you are.
So I'm curious if you guys, I mean, it sounds like you guys kind of have a lot of fun with this, and it's just you two being yourselves and you know, having fun and kind of recording what you two might be doing anyways when you're just shooting the shit and messing around. Do you guys feel like you do still operate it like a business, or is there somebody that's handling some of the business side for you?
Four Bad Eyes is its own entity, is its own corporation. So it's very business, I guess, driven in the long run. I mean, Anthony's wife, Kelly, she's the one who does all the paperwork and all the annoying stuff and the time consuming, the editing and all this stuff.
She does your edits? Wow, your edits are so good.
Yeah, Kelly kills it.
Yeah, she does them all. She learned Premiere Pro just for the podcast. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, she's super talented.
She's gotten so good, especially I'd say even the last couple months, the last few clips have been really good off the podcast. Man.
That's awesome.
And she does all the research and what to do with the algorithm upcoming and all this stuff. When all that changes, she's on top.
Yeah, because Kelly's like very business background. She's been, you know, working in business and stuff for the last 10, 11 years. So she really brings in that. And that's what's really helped me on my end as well, on my own personal business, is she's just really understands all that stuff and teaches us. And it really does make a difference at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do your research.
Yeah, Doug and I both are the same way. Kind of just find someone who knows what they're doing and really kind of use them as a mentor to guide you.
Because then it also helps you to just be able to focus on, you know, doing the stuff to shine through the content, and then they take care of the back end.
What do you guys think as you look back on, it sounds like you guys both been doing it for a minute now. What do you think your biggest success was? Can you talk us through what your biggest win was, your most viral post?
I don't know. I mean, my biggest win is being able to skate for a living is kind of my thing, and using my platform as a tool, for sponsorship through skateboarding, to help me get where I'm at. You know what I mean? I think the social media is more of like it's a promotion is what it is. I think for us, promoting ourselves to get jobs, to get brand ambassadorships and stuff like that. That's the biggest win.
Yeah, can you expand on that a little more? So I think both of you have sponsorships and partnerships, and then I think even beyond that, you guys have these nonprofits and things that you're working on. Can you talk to the audience a little more about sort of what your partnerships are right now, and then what you're wanting to do with them?
Yeah, a lot of them are small ones. They're just like one off or two off. A brand will reach out and say, "Hey, can you do X amount of videos for X amount of money?" And then you negotiate them and figure out a price and what you're willing to do depending on kind of your numbers and stuff like that. That's really it. Once you get your numbers up and you get your views up, especially looking at your analytics, and I have, Anthony has really good numbers as far as like actual engagement and stuff like that.
Influencer stats, huh?
Yeah. You got to look at all that stuff and then share those with brands, and you just kind of reach out to people that we're stoked on. Like, dude, let's hit them up. And we hit them up and hopefully hear back from them and work something out.
When did those opportunities start to present themselves? Like, I mean, were you guys like, okay, we're going to start reaching out now? Or did you get an inbound call? And
it first started with people reaching out to me, at least on my end. And then me realizing, I should reach out to other brands too. And if they're interested, they're interested. So yeah, I'd say like, I think it used to be like right around 100,000 followers. Now I think you need to be a little bit higher, I think, to really get ambassadorship and stuff like that. Think that's true, Ant?
Yeah, I also think Instagram's a little bit of a dying art
Yeah.
at this point. It's still a great tool for exposure and a network of people, but I really think a lot of brands are focusing more towards TikTok at this point and things like that. It's actually wild to see. But yeah, I didn't even start my brand thinking I would ever get brand deals or anything like that. Honestly, it was more during the pandemic and election. I had like no social presence. My wife and I did like a cross country music tour when the pandemic hit, of me setting up in like remote locations, live streaming me playing to the world. And when I say the world, I mean like 5 people on Facebook. And then we get back and I was just scrolling through Facebook and it was like so depressing. Like people were like really putting people down and it was just nasty and negative, and it was actually making me sick. I've never paid attention to it that much, and it was affecting me, and I was like, how the hell can we like make an impact, even if it's for like 100 people, like spread some stoke or positivity. And then it just started from me introducing myself in a video that kind of blew up, and then just kept going on from there and there and there. Like it just kept going and it just kept blowing up. And then, all these brands start reaching out, and I say no to a lot of brands. Like I probably say no more than I say yes, because it's a brand I don't believe in or align with. So I really try to only align myself with brands that it's like an organic, like I'm stoked, like Dan said, you're stoked on them and they're stoked about what you're doing. So that mutual relationship, and it's really a lot of, outreach, and also just the last 2 years have been pretty much like reactive for me, like just completely responding to things and trying to figure things out. And then you like always second guess yourself, because like you'll say a price and they don't even blink, and you're like, did I just sell myself so short? Like, so it's a lot of like, it's weird. It's a lot of learning as you go, because it's a lot of this stuff is, it's influencer or whatever you want to call it, has been around for a long time, but like all the new avenues are so different. There's no real like roadmap yet for everything.
I think you really nailed it there when you said that, you don't fuck with brands that, don't align with your values. Cause I mean, you could say yes to everything and make a lot of short-term cash. And then pretty soon your reputation goes down the drain, cause you're attaching your name to brands that.
Yeah, you're like a little brand slut. Everyone can see it. You're like, this guy only cares about getting brand deals, and he's just throwing all these ads in our face. So I try to keep it minimal.
Yeah, that can kill it if people see
It
that.
really shows through your content.
Yeah, for sure. So you touched on it a little bit, but how have your lives changed over the past couple years? I mean, you guys have, just from what you've shared so far in this conversation, you guys have each led very fascinating lives. And since the Four Bad Eyes has taken off like a rocket ship, how have your lives changed over these past couple years?
We're nowhere anywhere near making a living off of Four Bad Eyes. We're just starting to make any kind of money now. My money comes from my sponsorship through skateboarding, but I'd say it's starting Four Bad Eyes has just made my life just better. Knowing Anthony, being happier doing social media. Like I said, I was super burnt out doing everything on my own. So it's kind of revived me and doing that and having the podcast and having something new to put my time into and grow. But yeah, it's just being stoked to have a close friends and have fun doing it.
No, I was just going to say that's what Dan said is exactly what the advice that I got when I was asking some people about starting out the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What they said, just make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing, because after a couple months, you're going to stop doing it if you're not having fun.
Yeah.
So that resonated with me.
No, 100%. I'd say if you're starting a podcast and you like your goal is to make money from it, like give yourself 5 years before, you want to do a 5-year plan of like it's going to be a grind and you got to, like you guys said, you got to love it. So it really almost becomes like some episodes become like a therapy session for each other. Like we're literally just bitching about, certain things we have to deal with, and we kind of help each other out. And it really is like you know, you I've lost a brother in my life, but it's like I've gained another one through Dan as well, and I just feel like really fortunate to have him in my life. And his Dan's a little older than I am, so having his experience, it really helps. And I feel like if I'm not mistaken, sometimes like even being younger, I could also add some value and help him in his life as well.
Yeah, I never had a sister, so now I got a sister.
Exactly.
I saw Dan holding on to that one. He was waiting for you to finish talking.
The sister you never had.
No, we do learn a lot from each other, and it's fun, man. Especially Kelly too.
Yeah, I mean, the chemistry is obvious. I mean, you guys clearly get along really well and enjoy each other, and it comes through. I think. Do you guys feel like you have different skill? We talk a lot about partnerships on this podcast, and because a lot of people, do I go out on my own? Do I joint venture with a partner and so on? And, one of the common themes is, trying to get complementary skills and different skills, because it's easy to kind of go into a partnership or business with somebody who you like, who's very similar to you. But for business success and long-term success, a lot of times we hear successful entrepreneurs talking about, we got to have complementary and different skills. What is that like for you guys?
I mean, Anthony's younger than me. I'm 35. And what are you, 20?
20, about to be 28.
28.
In a couple, like 2 weeks.
I don't know. I always get along with younger people a little bit more. I'm definitely more like grumpy and like stubborn, I guess.
You're on the front lawn on your lawn chair yelling at people.
Very stuck in my ways for sure. So Ant helps me. Him and Kelly help me get out of that. It's good.
I think it's good because there's always going to be disagreements when you have a partner in business, and those disagreements sometimes really fuel to like a new idea or something. Like you're challenging each other's thoughts because you're like, "How about this?" And you're like, "Eh." And then sometimes you have to bite the bullet and like, swallow your own pride and try something out and be like, wow, that actually worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
So constantly getting challenged from each other, not just like a green light, always saying like, yeah, it's a great idea, or, this, that. But it just to have someone challenge you and have different set of views. And, me and Dan have definitely had our like disagreements, but we always come out like stronger through that on the other end.
I love that. And I like how you guys talk each other like brothers.
It really is like a it's like dating, man. It's like give and take, and you got to compromise. Like
Well, you did find each other on the Blinder app, so I guess it.
that's it.
Kind of makes
Call
sense.
back.
So do you guys? So I think Anthony, you're headed out to see Dan in a few days, right? What's kind of the plan like when you guys head out and do these things? I know you're going to be hopefully celebrating your birthday while you're together.
Yeah, that'll be the following weekend. We're meeting up in about a week and a half, and I'm going to Michigan, and then after that, we're also both going to be out in Florida for a skate competition, and that's be the birthday celebration. But more when we meet up, it's like we really do content pushes of like, all right, how many videos can we get filmed? Like, how many ideas can we have in person so we can bank these for when we're separate, and then put these out like, weekly or whatever it might be. And really just the in-person episodes are a lot more fun,
Yeah.
and just doing different things like that, and just having fun. It's good to like just hang too.
I love that. What I do you guys even I was thinking about this question before the podcast today. Do you guys even consider yourselves entrepreneurs? It sounds like you guys are just organically doing things that you both really vibe with. But from our perspective, like Doug and our perspective, is like we can hear you guys talking, and the advice you're giving is literally like most of the advice that we'd gotten from other people who had started podcasts or from other people that had given us social media advice. So you guys obviously know what you're talking about. Do you consider yourself entrepreneurs?
I don't really. I never thought of myself as one. No.
I would say so because I started before social media. My main thing is motivational speaking, and it still is. So I built a business off of that, but then the social media stuff really helped me. Okay, let me go make a business. So now we have like I have two businesses, like Four Bad Eyes and ASF Vision, and it really is like there's taxes, there's back end where like you're running a business, and
Right.
it's definitely entrepreneurial, and it's like you have to reach out to brands, you have to market, you have to do all these things. So, I mean, in a sense, yeah, but you don't really look at it as that because you're doing what you love.
That's really interesting how you two have such different perspectives on it. You guys are working together in this venture, and Anthony's like, "Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur," and Dan's like, "Nah, it's kind of the reluctant entrepreneur, or maybe just the label of it." Um, how would you define entrepreneurship? Maybe Anthony would take that one.
Someone with a driven in growing a business, starting a business, I think too is really big because a lot of people will just submit and go get a 9 to 5 or work for the man, I guess you would say. And it's really, I think it's paving your own lifestyle and work in your lifestyle. So kind of just creating that as you go.
I love that. Yeah, and I love your public speaking. I've actually watched a few of them now. What is your main advice or main point that you like to portray in your public speaking engagements?
It's really goal setting and perseverance. Not giving up when you literally feel like you're at the bottom. And also it's like I talk about, here's a quick example is, I started wrestling in 7th grade. I thought I was going to be so good. My brother was 5th in the state, and I went out, I won one match and had one forfeit as a win. So I was like 2-12 my first year. And then
Wow.
I wanted to get good. So I went to a wrestling club 4 nights a week and started going to tournaments every single weekend. And I wanted to win a tournament so bad. I was like, I'm gonna win this one. Like, this is gonna be the weekend. But every weekend I was having the same results. I wouldn't even score a single point against anyone. So I had this goal that was really overwhelming to win this tournament. But in order to win that tournament, I had to like really break down my goals to have like it's like a ladder of like stepping, blocks to get up to that big one. So it's not so overwhelming. So I'd literally break it down to as little as, all right, let me score my first point. And then once you do that, it's like you get uh this little buzz of like accomplishment. It's like, oh, it's actually something's happening. Here's some progress. And
Yes.
then 1 turns into 2 and 2 turns into whatever. And then you finally win a match and you're like, holy shit, all these hours aren't for nothing. And then, when that first tournament wins, it's like, wow, I thought this was impossible.
I love that. Yeah, I think that that's one of the main themes that we actually cover on this podcast is kind of setting those micro goals and then it gets you some momentum. Yeah, it's huge that you talk to that. And is it mostly who is it that you usually direct your public speaking to? Is it schools that you go to?
It's actually anything from like 2 weeks ago, I spoke from kindergarten to 8th grade, all separate, and then I do high school, college. I've done graduations and a lot of corporate events too. A lot of like, corporate companies and things like that for like team building and goal setting and things like that.
That's so critical. I love that.
And then a lot of nonprofits as well. That's like more my passion work is like, some don't have big budgets, so you just go in and do it because you love it.
I love that. What and I think you guys do you guys have one together or each separately? Nonprofits. Can you give us a little more background on that?
Yeah, I have one called Keep Pushing. That's designed to build a skate park designed for visually impaired skateboarders and adaptive skaters. About to break ground this spring, actually, coming up here.
Oh, that's exciting.
And then I'll have it kind of open to adaptive skaters and hold events and share what I've learned and hopefully use that as a blueprint for future skate park design. And really getting the push towards hopefully have skateboarding in the adaptive sports for the Olympics in 2028 is our goal.
Can you talk through what type of things do you do on the skate park that make it adaptive? I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it's really the size of the obstacles and how those are made. Things are extra long or extra wide, so there's a little bit more room for error. That's the biggest thing. And then you can get into tactile ground and auditory cues and all this stuff too. Yeah, but really the main thing is kind of the size of the obstacles and then having good contrast between the obstacle and the ground so you can better pick it up with low vision. Because most people who are blind still have a little bit of residual remaining vision.
Are both of you, do you guys have, what percent do you guys have?
I have 0.
Dan's 0, yeah.
And you said that's not common. It's more common to have some slight left.
More common to have a little bit of vision, yeah. Most
Gotcha. Interesting.
people who are, legally blind have some, shadows or something or a little bit, yeah. I mean, you can still drive as a legally blind person in some cases.
Yeah, it's wild.
With certain adaptions and stuff like
I know
that.
someone driving for Uber.
Really?
There's kind of two versions of, there's blind. To be legally blind, it's less than 20% of your, peripheral vision and stuff like that.
20 over 80 is considered legally blind, and that's, to give you an example, like 20/20 is perfect.
So 20 over 200.
I thought it was 20 over 80 now is considered legally blind.
That might be low vision. 20 over 200 is legally blind. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a friend who drives Uber and they have that.
So, I have a friend, I know a guy who took bronze in the Paralympics for judo. He was blind, but all of a sudden years later he can't do judo anymore because they found out he could see too well, and now he's driving for Uber.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Oh, what a pivot, huh?
That's wild.
That sounds a little dicey, but that's cool that he's making that work.
Yeah, there's a lot of dicey things. There's a lot of dicey things in the They just freaking had to. They reclassed everyone for their blindness in judo, and there was like tons of people that failed and can't fight anymore in the Paralympics.
Wow.
Because they could see too well.
Yeah.
And you were training for the Paralympics before you said you had a concussion. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm still training. I'm finally cleared, and I have the World Games in England in August. So
Sweet.
A lot of competitions after that as well to try and qualify for the 2024 games.
Were you concussed from riding a bull, or what was that about?
I got slammed on my dome from some Argentinian in Canada. Yeah, Argentinian bull. I was actually winning also, and then I got knocked out, and he ended up winning the whole competition.
Wow.
It was the first match too.
No way.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, I've had quite a few.
Yeah, I was gonna say that happens pretty regularly in judo, doesn't it? Because there's so many throws.
It does.
The concussions don't happen as often. It's more being blind kind of screws you because you can't see the mat to tuck your head.
Oh.
But yeah, it's pretty gnarly. But no, yeah, I've had more concussions in judo and stuff than probably anything else.
Oh, really? Oh, you got the countdown on? Is there a tally on the board?
That sucks. Yeah.
Well, that'll be awesome to go compete in the World Games in August. Is that an annual?
No, it's every 4 years.
Oh, that's cool. Just like the Olympics. What do you guys think? Who would you consider your biggest mentors or people that significantly impacted your lives?
Mine's just growing up watching all the pro skaters that I loved and stuff. There's a lot of them, but yeah, all the dudes I looked up to skating were kind of the dudes that I was always hyped on.
How cool for you to follow in their footsteps and, continue doing it through all the challenges. That's awesome.
And a lot of your heroes become friends, which is crazy.
Was there any specific advice that you've received that's really impacted either of your lives that you think about on a regular basis?
Yeah, I got one. In 8th grade or freshman year of high school, one of my biggest mentors in wrestling, especially and life, I'd say, is this guy Mike Melanconico, who took me in as this little chubby blind kid to, really helped me progress in wrestling and life. He said to me, I was all down one day because all the adversity I was receiving through like people talking shit and just whatever it was. He's like, listen, man, this is gonna sound brutal, but you're fucking blind, and the rest of the world isn't. And he's like, they're not gonna slow down for you, so you better buck up or get out. And it
Wow.
was like very powerful to me. Like it sounds brutal, but it was like, oh shit, I guess he's right. Like I gotta stop freaking feeling sorry for myself about things I can't control.
Yeah, it's powerful. Dang, you were young to hear that too. It's amazing that stayed with you.
Yeah, I think it was freshman or sophomore year, thinking back now.
That's killer advice. That'll
Yeah.
get you going.
Yeah, or it'll make you quit.
Yeah. One or the other.
It is important to realize as a blind person, though, the rest of the world, we live in a sighted world like this. You got to come to grasp with that and accept it. But
Well, you guys have obviously been incredible perseverance, and I think the perspective you guys have is what I appreciate and got most out of this podcast. Just the fact that your positivity and then how you're working to spread that positivity. Just, like most immediately for me through that like I said, I just like put on the Four Bad Eyes podcast and cruise in my car. And it's just like always a smile. You guys have such a good dynamic together. And I do agree when you guys are in person, the vibe between you two is just super, super powerful. So it's cool that you were able to find each other. And it's cool how you guys reference each other kind of as brothers now too, because that's really how kind of Doug and my relationship is too.
nice.
To
Yeah.
have that closeness is, I think, so awesome. Can you guys give so outside of the Four Bad Eyes, you guys are on, where can they find you?
I'm Dan the Mancina across the board, pretty much. Facebook, I'm just Dan Mancina, I believe, but every other platform, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Dan the Mancina.
Love it.
And then, yeah, Four Bad Eyes is across the board, too, from YouTube to TikTok.
And fourbadeyes.com has everything on it.
Perfect.
FOUR. It's important to let people know.
Yes.
Not the number. Mine, everything's just on asfvision.com. You can find everything related to me.
Guys, thanks so much for coming on today. We really enjoyed this conversation. I think it was really uplifting for everyone, and I think you guys have such a powerful message to spread out there. So everyone, go check out Four Bad Eyes.
I gotta add one thing: don't let your life be dictated by what other people want for you. It's up to you to figure out what makes you happy and do that. So that's kind of my big message.
Yes.
Appreciate those parting words. You guys are really inspirational, and chatting with you guys has been really cool. So we appreciate the time so much, and excited to see what you guys will be accomplishing in the future.
Thanks. Great interview, guys. You guys killed it.
Yeah, same to you. Keep crushing the podcast and don't give up. Just keep going. Keep pushing, as Dan says.
Love it. Thank you so much. Keep pushing. One of our core beliefs is to never stop learning. And one of the best ways to learn is to have deep conversations with incredible entrepreneurs who have accomplished amazing things. In an effort to grow the Find Your Freedom community, it would mean the world to us if you would subscribe on your favorite audio platform, watch episodes on YouTube, and share your favorite episodes with your friends and family. Our goal is to build a community uniting successful entrepreneurs with aspiring entrepreneurs and providing a one-stop shop for all the resources you need to find your freedom.